4 American soldiers are killed by a landmine in Somalia. The president promises appropriate action. And Tropical Storm Brett claims scores of lives in Caracas, Venezuela. This is the CBS Evening News. And good evening, I'm Deborah Norville reporting. 4 American soldiers are dead tonight in Somalia, killed by a landmine attributed to the forces of warlord Mohammed Aidid. As Eric Engberg reports, this latest casualty in what started as a humanitarian effort has some in Washington saying it's time to rethink America's mission of mercy.
Gunfire erupted just outside Mogadishu, pinning down U.S. troops who sped to the area where 4 soldiers were killed when a landmine exploded underneath their Humvee. It was the heaviest loss suffered by U.S. troops since landing in Somalia. UN officials blamed fugitive warlord Mohammed Aidid. President Clinton, emerging from church in Washington, vowed an all-out effort to identify the attackers and punish them.
Of course, the United States condemns it. There are, regrettably, people who still have a vested interest in misery and murder and mayhem, and so our people are at risk.
The president indicated continuing support for the American military presence as part of the UN effort in Somalia.
We went there because 300,000 Somalis had died. Millions more lives were at risk. As a result of the mission there, food is flowing, medicine is flowing, schools have been reopened, crops have been replanted.
But the escalating violence, it was the 3rd ambush against Americans in a week, brought calls from Capitol Hill for tougher action against the warlords, even as the president urged caution.
We need to step up the efforts to find Aidid and to neutralize his forces. We shouldn't, I agree, allow this kind of cat and mouse game to go on in which Americans take casualties.
Maybe our mission has changed from a humanitarian mission to a warlike mission, and we better go back and take a look at it.
3 of the 4 Americans killed by the mine were based at Fort Riley, Kansas, where tonight soldiers were asking questions.
You know, you feel like you're down there with one hand tied behind your back because you're not really allowed to defend yourself most of the time against such things like that. And I hope they do something about this.
With 4,000 U.S. troops still on the ground in Somalia, the 4 latest fatalities increased pressure on the administration either to extricate itself from that country or to capture the warlord Aidid. Eric Engberg, CBS News, the White House.
Disaster in Venezuela where at least 70 people are dead and 3,000 are homeless in the aftermath of Tropical Storm Brett.